Hey guys. Okay, so I'm playing a few games tonight, and if I get a good one, I'm going to um, see if I can drop that recording. Actually, record a decent game with me, not just getting stomped. But in the interest of not talking about it every single time I record, I'm just going to talk about the patch that just happened. And this was came out yesterday, so it came out on the 12th. And so there were a few changes, but for the most part, this update kind of kills the good stuff meta. So it's the only thing under this gameplay announcement, and it just reduces the chance of finding T4 units by 5% from level 6 to level 8. So what this means is I think they have a chart. Maybe it's only in the patch updates. Okay, so they didn't make a new chart, but they had these charts that were down here somewhere. These things, right? So the big thing that they did is these tier 3 and tier 4 heroes, and it's between the levels of 6 and 8, or really it's 6 and 10. And they've made it to where the tier 4 heroes come in later, and they don't come in as hard as they do. And on top of that, tier 3 heroes on level 7 and 8 have a 35% chance of spawning in your draws. And so what this does is the good stuff meta, which is what's been mostly predominant for the last month, or maybe just a few weeks, were these tier 4 heroes. And basically the idea of the gameplay was you pick a board and you roll with whatever you get early, and you just want something that'll either conserve your health so that you can kind of just get to those tier 4 units and be in a good place. And then when you get these, it really didn't matter what you did, because you could do Tidehunter, Doom, Kunkka, that's 3 warriors. You could do Alchemist, Necrophos, that's 2 warlocks. Arc Warden is just good in basically any build you choose. Dragon Knight is good if you have any other dragon, or if you're running knights. And yeah, so those were your 2 options basically. And you could play like Savage Druids, or it's not Druids, it's whatever the leaf is. Is it Druids? Yeah, Druids. Savage Druids for early game dominance, and you could be pretty sure that you were going to hit these better units with mostly full health. Or you could do a lot of what I did, which was you try to pick units that even if you lose the board, you don't lose it by much, and you could lose streak and just build your economy, so that when you get to these units, you can really afford to just buy anything and everything, and you just throw them on your board and you win. And that's how I moved from the Grifter up to Outlaw. And so this is kind of dead now. You don't get these units until later, and you don't get them with the same odds as you did before. So it's harder. It's still a viable thing, I think, but it's much more dependent. Like, you don't necessarily, that's not the game plan you want to just jump into the game with. Now you have a much more high chance of getting these tier 3 units. And the thing about the tier 3 units is they're not game breaking, and they're not for the most part, they're not units that are just going to carry you, right? Slark is probably the exception to that rule. And Slark by himself doesn't really carry a board. Slark is one of those heroes where it's like, well, if he jumps to a good spot and the enemy, and whoever you're up against, if they're not blocking in one corner, or if they're not doing something that just kills the Slark really quick, then you win. But it's counterable, right? Whereas like having 2 Tide Hunters and being able to double ravage maybe 2 or 3 times in a fight, that's just insane. Or having 2 Dooms and dooming 2 different targets. Like, these heroes are just so good that you don't even have to have a composition around them. And it's been pretty true that aside from Warlocks, people haven't really been running alliance-based games. And I think that's kind of, it's more viable now, right? It's definitely, the game is back to where you want to think about compositions. And I never stopped because even if it wasn't top tier, it's how I prefer to play. So I mean, that's out there. That's basically the change. The other things that they did are not as significant, in my opinion. Scroll back up. So basically, our Warden loses a little bit of HP. Doesn't matter. He's still an amazing unit. Enigma got nerfed a little bit more. Disruptor for the Warlock Ace changed. It basically doesn't do anything if you're only running 2 Warlocks. So now if you're running Disruptor, you want 4 Warlocks. Whatever. The Warlock Alliance got nerfed a little bit to also kind of help with that issue, but I don't think it's as big of a deal because now it's like, well, you're gonna have to run 4 Warlocks if you want to do that strat. So, whatever. Assassin's got a buff, and when they crit people, it makes them not heal, which I don't know. Like, people are acting like that's a huge thing, but and if you're running 6 Assassins, it's 100% heal reduction, but it's only when they crit. So, I don't know. I'm not very impressed by that. I don't think it's that meaningful in any way, shape, or form, but whatever. So there's that. That's kind of reflecting how I'm playing a little bit, but other than that, that's really it. And there you go. So we'll get into some games and see what happens. Okay, so I had actually given up on ever having a good match, and I think I had a 5th place match. It's the one that I had just recorded, and so I stopped recording, and this was the last match I played. And I wasn't recording audio while I did it, and I kind of think that's why I did better, but it may have just been, RNG. So I kind of thought that it would be worth going back over and just doing like a replay commentary to kind of explain choices I make through this and why I made them. So, the build that I'm kind of currently jamming as often as I can is Scrappies and Assassins. And I quite like putting 2 Knights with them. And the reason is because Knights is one of those bonuses, like 2 Knights is good, 4 Knights is still pretty good as well. It's 6 Knights is a little bit overkill. But it is one of those alliances that you can just run 2 Knights, and the 2 Knights get the benefit. It doesn't ever extend to your other party members anyway. That's not a big deal. And the thing about Knights is they can kind of play multiple roles. You can have Abaddon, Omni Knight are very defensive. Chaos Knight, Luna, even Bat Rider to some extent is fairly offensive. Dragon Knight is kind of both. Dragon Knight's DPS, but he's also pretty tanky. And I like running, it's not a very common build that I've seen people do a lot, but I really like running Knights Assassins together, because what it means you can do is you can have Dragon Knight as one of your Knights, and Viper as one of your assassins. You get the dragon benefit, which they both need. I mean, I think out of the 3 dragons, Dragon Knight might be the only one that's really viable if you're not running another dragon, but even he doesn't feel good without it. So even though it's not all that common, I like running them together, and I've just been trying to jam Scrappies because they're not what I usually run. And they feel kind of good right now. They did get a little bit of a buff in this patch, and they feel like they should be good. I haven't had amazing success with them though, so I don't know. And to be fair, the buff wasn't direct, right? Because their buff is strictly because your Clockwork, Tinker, and Timbersaw are all level 2, level 3 units, and because of the update where level 3 units are more common, it's a lot easier to draw and it's a lot easier to build that group up. And because you can get Bounty Hunter as a level 1, that means you can run 4 Scrappies pretty quick out of the gate. The one kind of like counterintuitive thing about it, I guess, is that it's pretty much the only alliance that you really don't want to level for, right? You basically want to get to a point, like you want to get to like level 4, and you really want to get some lucky draws, start pulling level 3 units early, and then you want to, when you're at level 5, 6, and 7, you want to kind of just coast. And you don't want to buy experience unless you have to, because that's the time where you're really raking in those units. And that's not really how the game plays for a lot of other alliances. So, I don't know, I've been messing around with them. It's kind of nice. It can get, the one problem with trying to do Scrappies, Assassins, and Knights all together is that your bench can get full really quick. And you have to make this decision early for, like, what units are you going to 2-star, what units are you going to 3-star, and you know, since you don't know what you're going to roll, you can really wind up in these scenarios where if you make the wrong call, I mean, it could just shoot your game in the foot. Which technically, I guess, is true for any game. Pretty much any decision you make, it just feels really punishing with Scrappies. And so, I mean, this is just kind of the start of these games. You know, I'd say for the first like 10 rounds, you're really not. You don't necessarily need to pick based on what you're going for so much. Like, I mean, I know that I'm going to run Knights, and I found early Luna, and I found some Bat Riders early. So yeah, I picked those up. They're good starting units anyway. The Ogre, I'm not going to run late, but Ogre's tanky, even at 1-star. And then I find 2 more, and the thing about level 1 units is they sell for the same cost you buy them as. Like, you don't lose gold by upgrading them and selling them later. So having a 2-star Ogre on the bench, or on the board, is just, it's good. Even by himself, even if he never casts a spell on any other unit I have out there, it's still worth it because he takes damage, soaks it up so Luna can be my DPS, and it works out fine. And I think, I don't quite remember exactly my line of thought through most of this, but I think at this point I was really considering not going Scrappy at all. Because I hadn't seen anything yet, and it was just, I just wasn't sure how it was going to go. My positioning is really bugging me here because I should have the Luna right behind the Bat Rider. I think they still get the bonus if they're diagonal, but it's just a bigger chance that they're going to walk away from each other. It's kind of annoying. But I had really good luck here early with the Bounty Hunters. Let's see, I think, yeah, okay. I'm glad I switched that back out. It was, definitely would have been the wrong call to put that Tinker out there because the level 1 Scrappy bonus is just one of your 2 units gets the health regen. And it's pretty terrible, especially compared to level 4 Scrappy, which is all of your Scrappy units getting it. It's huge power spike for Scrappies when they get to 4 units. But level 2 is, unless you just have nothing else, it's not really worth running. So I'm glad I held that back, honestly. But you can kind of see, like, I'm keeping my bench probably more full than it needs to be. The Witch Doctor and the Vino are just Warlock pairs, which I've kind of just about given up on Warlock. Warlock can't pair with Scrappy really well. It seems like it should, but it's not enough damage. It's just too much focus on health regen. They don't actually output anything. And I tried to jam it so many times, it just never worked. And I think, I mean, this was an extremely greedy call right there, but I sold the Ogre just so I could get the interest point. And I don't think I should have. I should have just sold both Venomancers and the Witch Doctor. I don't end up running them. But maybe it actually works out for this fight? Nah. No way. Yeah. I got about 1 million text messages when I was playing this game. But see, so this is my Timber Saw. So that's my 4 Scrappies. I've got them. And at this point, the issue is that I have 5 slots on the board. But if I play the Timber and the Clockwork, then I'm gonna have to pull either Bat Rider or Luna. And even though the Scrappy bonus is really good, I don't think that bonus is better than a 2-star hero out there. So, I mean, I think it might have been a better decision to play Clock or Timber instead of the Tinker, but either way, and I mean, maybe the Witch Doctor probably isn't worth having out there in any case. He is kind of my only unit out that can have a stun though. And I love this. The Skull Basher at level 10 is phenomenal. It's a huge DPS spike, and it's a mini stun. It just feels really good to get it that early. So, Witch Doctor is 2 gold, Vino is 1. Yeah. I was still definitely thinking about throwing 2 Warlocks into this mix. But I think what I should have done here was just sell the Warlocks and get the extra interest point. Which, you know, I mean, that's a hindsight 2020 kind of thing. But I was feeling really good about this match. And when that guy dropped, he's one of the leaders. At that moment, I was just like, okay, so I'm pretty sure this feels like I have a top 3 start right off the bat. And you'll notice what I'll do here. Like, I waited for the match to start, then I immediately go in and I buy the bounty and buy the clockwork. Maybe the PA. Can't remember. Yeah. So the reason I did that is because when the match starts, whatever your current gold count is locked in, right? So I started, when that match started, it had 33 gold, which means when it ends, it's going to say, oh, you had more than 30, that's 3 interest points. Right, so you always have this decision, like right before the match starts, or the round starts, I guess. You know, if there's things you can buy, you have to make a choice. Like, is what I'm going to buy going to make my board stronger for this round? If it's not, then you need to wait. Wait till the round starts, lock in your interest, and then go buy the units. And the other thing I did there was I pre-leveled. So before the last round ended, I went ahead and bought my next level, which meant that the new round of heroes that popped up for me were using my level 6% chance of drawing them, right? And I'm not sure if it was the right call or not, but like, I bought this, I upgraded this Witch Doctor, and it made my board stronger. It's going to cost me gold because he's not going to sell for 6, he'll sell for, I don't know, 4, something like that. But now I'm in this weird position where it's like, I want to play these scrappy units, and I'm already pretty sure that I'm going to ditch the Witch Doctor. But none of these scrappies are 2-star. And so I'm having to make this call between, do I want to keep a 2-star Witch Doctor that isn't really doing much, or do I want to actually go ahead and get my scrappy bonus online? So I don't know, this could have been a misplay. Because what I should do is pull the PA and pull the Witch Doctor. But, I mean, kind of works. And I mean, and Witch Doctor's stun can be phenomenal. Like that moment right there, Shadow Fiend was trying to get his ult off, and that the coconut just keeps interrupting it because he's got such a horrible cast point. So it did end up paying off for me. Okay, so round 15 is the wolves, alpha wolves. So you always move your units up because they're all assassins, and they try to jump your army and get to your back line, so you just don't let them. Put your back line in front. And see, I think I was a little bit too far forward, I think, is what caused that. It was kind of nice, though, because it did split them up kind of evenly, and Bounty Hunter sat there and tanked 2 of them for the whole match, which was very nice. And this was the moment I knew, because I drew a Mask of Madness, and I was just like, okay. My board just went from, this is a really good board and I feel comfortable, to, okay, this is nuts. I'm gonna have massive damage output here. This is the only game I've ever really taken Smuggler early and felt like it changed the game. Because I got a Skull Basher at 10 and I got a Mask of Madness at 15, and that is just incredible DPS. I don't really know how good Basher is on PA, Might have been better off putting it on somebody else. But my line of thinking on that is just, well, maybe she'll mini stun somebody and then her next attack will crit or something like that. I mean, it's kind of a long shot. It's kind of something a little bit unknowable, I guess, but in my head it works out pretty good, at the very least. So I'm in fourth place right now? Third place, okay. There's my PA. There's my second Viper. And I only have 52 gold. So I need to buy the Viper like right now. I remember forgetting a unit in this match. I'm wondering if it's this Viper. Probably was. Okay. And so honestly, the biggest downside here is that it's round 17 and I still don't have my Scrappies out yet. And I wasn't really wanting to roll very aggressively yet. I was really hoping that I'd just get them. Which hasn't been a terrible thing, because I did upgrade my Luna, I did upgrade my PA. I'm sitting on 7 bounty hunters, which is good. But I know it's pretty soon here. There's Clockwork. And so this is where I was thinking, I really want this Tinker and this Timbersaw in the match. But now, they're both 1-star. Witch Doctor and PA are both 2-star. And it's just like, I know it's not worth it to put them in now. Because they might be better than the bonus might be better than the Witch Doctor, but it's surely not better than the PA. And that's my 4th Luna. So that's nice. This guy's running 2 or 3 Viper, 2-star Viper already. I think Viper was probably the most contested unit in this game. And one mistake I can see that I'm making here is I'm not checking the scoreboard enough. Like, I really need to be looking to see what other people are telling. And I mean, like, I played this match and I don't even remember what was contested. And it hasn't been that long ago, so, like, I know that I'm not playing with enough information in the game if I can't even remember what other people were running. And there's Viper. So the thing about Viper is, oh, yeah, okay, so the round starts, now I'm looking at this and I'm going, great. So I can get an extra Tinker and an extra Timbersaw, but neither one of them upgrade, and I don't have the bench space for it. And so I'm just like, you know, what do I do here? And 100% what I should have done here is I should have just leveled, I think. Because if I level, then I can just have one more unit out there. And I mean, I'm below 50 gold. Or I would be, I think I would actually be above 50 gold after this payout. It's a neutral round, so I wanna play this round with 50 gold. right? And I should just level. But I'm 1 experience away. I'm like, I really don't want to. And so I spin, and then this happens. And that bounty hunter puts me at 1 away. It's my 3rd or 5th Luna. And so I just have to sell that extra clockwork because I just don't have the space for it. And I mean, maybe even selling the Witch Doctor would have been a better choice there. I'm not really sure. But this is, this is one of the biggest problems with Scrappies, is that Clockwork, Timbersaw, and Tinker are all right there in your level 2-3 group, and they take up so much bin space. And you have to decide, it's like, am I gonna 2-star these? Am I gonna 3-star these? What exactly am I playing for, right? I can't remember what to take here, the bracers? Yeah. I'm not actually sure about Dawning of Ristal with Scrappies. I'm not 100% sure if it affects the healing you get from Scrappy units. And this hurts so bad because there's 2 Vipers there, and it would have been really good to have them, but... So you see, I did that. I sold an extra Clockwork, which is a unit I'm going to use. And I passed up 2 Vipers. And I didn't really gain anything out of it, right? Like, I've got 3 Scrappies on the board. One of them still a Timbersaw that's 1 star. Like, for how my board ended up, and for what I got out of it, I should have just sold the Witch Doctor and called it good. And again, that is a hindsight thing, but... I remember I was very upset with myself because I knew it was just a terrible call, and I don't know what the heck is up with the Necro pick there. I think in my head I was still thinking I might go Warlocks. Obviously. Well, there you go. There's that. So 3-star Bounty Hunter definitely helps my board out. I mean, I was really pretty sure I didn't go Warlocks this game. Maybe I do. Definitely doesn't feel like the right call. And that kind of hurt. I mean, I'm still in 2nd place, but that took me from a position where I was really competing for 3rd, or for 1st, to a 2nd or to a place where I'm competing for 2nd now. It really gave the lead guy a much stronger lead. So there's my Scrappies. And the bracers feel weird. I really don't know what's best to do on Scrappies when you're doing like I don't know why I passed up that Timbersaw. I shouldn't have. I was definitely thinking about going Warlocks here. And you'll notice me do this cute little play. It's because you can have units on your board and just use it as like a holding zone. While you spin and do stuff like that, but and so I think this is where I sell the Witch Doctor. Please sell the Witch Doctor. Oh wait, it's okay. Yeah. Man, I give myself a heart attack watching my own playback. This is not good. So I'm 1 assassin away, which is the Viper. for sure, and then I'll have 2 units extra. And I think, just in my head, yep, there's the Luna. So in my head, those 2 units should be probably Dragon Knight for the completion with Viper, and Techies to fill out the Inventor. Techies is the Inventor ace. And I don't think the ace effect is not that good. It's like if you explode and kill an enemy unit, they explode too. And it's okay, it's cute. It's one of those ace effects that's kind of, this could be game changing, but it's really not. 90% of the time it's just something that might not even happen really. I'm really hating myself for holding these warlocks. Because the only other thing is, like, you know, there's Alchemist. And Alchemist is a scrappy warlock, so, like, I could keep one. But I'm not going to run both of them, unless I'm thinking to go Witch Doctor, Necro, Alchemist, Disruptor. Which, I mean, I guess is playable. I've tried it. It's to the point where it just isn't worth it. Warlocks are still viable, but they're not viable with Scrappies. I remember this decision because I was going, I don't even know what to do. I've got a Skull Basher on my PA. I've got a mask on my Luna. I don't even know what the best item here is. Moonshard feels really good on Luna when you don't have life stealing. And Moonshard is definitely better on PA. I don't know about the Basher though at this point. Like, might have been better on Tinker because I could get ranged stuns, but I'm not even 100% sure about that, honestly. So I bought that level and didn't get the unit in there fast enough. But it doesn't really matter. Okay. So I'm still holding second place, but the leader is still miles ahead of me. There's my assassin group. Now, what I did not know at the time, and this has been patched since then, but I'm pretty sure during this match, the 3 assassin and the 6 assassin alliance benefit was bugged, and you weren't actually getting crits. And so if I'd known that, I don't know that I would have played this match the same way, because I mean, I don't know. Viper is still good in and of himself. Bounty Hunter's there for Scrappies, and PA will crit regardless of the alliance buff. So I don't know. I think this is still a strong board. This scared me. I was just like, wow, this guy is straight up total assassins, and he just wrecked my Luna. And then this happened, and I was just like, well, okay, so Luna died, but PA didn't. This is kind of where I realized I've got some serious damage here. Like, PA does damage, Luna does damage. Viper is not huge damage output, but he's tanky enough that it doesn't matter. And then Scrappies in general are tanky. So I kind of realized that I was at this point where I'm gonna have damage output no matter what happens, and that's always a good place to find yourself in. Especially with Scrappies, because I think there's a lot of times where I've played Scrappies and I just don't feel like I'm doing any damage at all, because it's an alliance that's so based on making yourself tankier. And I think this leveling was a mistake. I really do. Like, if I could go back and replay this from, like, round 25, I would sell the Warlocks, and I would just be using this extra gold to spin. It's not like I'm exceptionally close to a 3-star Tinker or a 3-star Clockwork or a 3-star Timber, but I could have been. I mean, this is a lot of gold that I put down into leveling. I don't know. I remember thinking this was going to take forever. Oh, I'm pretty sure it bugs right here. Yeah. It was at this point that I realized that Tinker is not hurting that train. Yeah. There's nothing happening. And I don't know if that was lag, I don't know what it was. But it ended up being a draw. I was not happy with it. Okay, so I've got a comfortable lead. The leader and the last place person are at level 9. The leader is sitting on 50 gold as well, though. Everyone else is pretty much broke. Some of these boards were scary. Like, this guy just made me feel like I was paper. Let's see, a pre-level there before the end. And the thing about it is like, what did that gain me? Like, really, I played a 2-star Witch Doctor. It's a 2-cost unit that I've had since the beginning of the game. And, I mean, so I got another stun? Kind of. He's not even a very reliable one. Like, I like Witch Doctor, I think he's a good unit, but... And I mean, I guess here I can swap for Necro. Maybe. I should. Or not. Whatever. And see, those scrappy buys feel like, to me, it's way too late. Right, I'm level 9. I'm starting to pull level 4s and level 5s, and the odds of me pulling a 2-star or a 2-cost or a 3-cost have gone down. Like, remember that? I think I actually picked the Vanguard. I think I picked the Vanguard and put it on Viper. Which feels wrong, because it's not as good of an item. But, it was one of these scenarios where just like, I mean, I have a Mask, I have a Moonshard, I have a Basher. I don't really know where I'm supposed to put, you know, any more damage output. But I was getting scared, because, I mean, I've lost a significant amount of my lead. And then I draw up against the leader of the match right now, and this is just scary. They've got some damage output. He's got a 2-star Dragon Knight even. That's nice. And so now I'm at this point where it's like, okay, I have 11 health. If I lose a match, I'm probably just out. And I don't know about that level. They leveled for the Warlock bonus. This is definitely not worth it. This actually may have been the game where I finally decided, okay, Warlocks are out. They cannot be in this build. And, you know, if you think about it, it makes sense, right? Because I'm running Scrappy, which is a 4-unit alliance. I'm running a Assassin, which is a 3-unit alliance. Knights are 2, Warlocks are 2. And I've got 1 Dragon, right? And there are overlaps there, right? But I probably didn't deserve this 2nd place, to be frank. I'm sure I was playing for a Disruptor. But, well, there it is. I think the smart move would be drop it in for the Witch Doctor. Maybe? That didn't even bother. Okay. And I knew this guy was going to destroy me. Like, I mean, my board hasn't gotten that much more powerful, right? I added a unit, but it's, you know, a Warlock. And the heal is great, but you're already running an alliance that is built around health regen and tankiness, and it's just not what you need. And you can kind of see there, like, just a little bit more damage output, and that would have been a different kind of fight. So that's not, I'm pretty sure that this is the match where I was like, yep, cannot do Scrappies and Warlocks together. Alright, but there it was, so. Alright, I'll see you next time.